Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join Corporal Dave Andrews and Lance Corporal Fiona Wilkins from the Australian Army Band Brisbane for the singing of the New Zealand and Australian national anthems.
Present!
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep that applause going for the Australian Defence Force personnel who have participated in today's Anzac Day ceremony.
What a wonderfully moving ceremony it was as well. So Adelaide United, 4th spot on the ladder, 41 points to their name, win, and they'll host a final next week in 10 days' time on Sunday, May 6. Otherwise, they'll be on the road week 1 of the finals potentially. Here's the team news for you, and 2 changes for the hosts. Pepper and Botiak both return from suspension as Coletti and Mickelson drop out. The visitors, well, they name an unchanged 11 after that win over the Melbourne Victory. Left-back Scott Galloway plays on his 23rd birthday, while Mile Uznic scored the winner in that 7-goal thriller in round 17. Look at the benches for you, and Bubba Diawara is a chance to play his first minutes since round 2, while Jordan Elsey once scored a famous winner here off the bench. That was his first ever A-League goal back in January of 2014. Darren Davies' final game as caretaker coach of the Brisbane Roar. He will be an assistant coach under Robbie Fowler next season. The Liverpool legend is in the house tonight, having a look at Brisbane play their final game of the campaign. Sean Evans just out of picture briefly and wandering back in his 92nd A-League game tonight, one of the full-timers. He'll probably feature in the finals as well. Back in the VAR centre in the nervous 90s so far as VAR games are concerned. The cricketer on the weekend at times, Chris Griffiths-Jones. And Marco Kurtz, coach of Adelaide United. Well, last week's win over the Melbourne Victory took him past Guy Amor into 4th spot all-time for wins as a Reds coach with 22. And he's coached 2 games less than the Spaniard. Well, there is the man of the moment, Matt Mackay. And Andy Harper, you would have noted during the week that he paid tribute to Ange Postecoglou for changing everything for Mackay and the club.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are the sad moments, I think, when you say goodbye to legends of the game. And Matt Mackay is a legend of the game. I hope he gets a big send-off here today and after today. His exploits are remembered. May I say, before we get on, as an ex-bugler of not much repute, can I acknowledge that amazing job done today in the ceremony? And that is as good a rendition of the Last Post and Reveille as I think we've been privileged to hear. Brilliant work by the troops out of the Enoggera base and contributing magnificently to this occasion.
Well, that was Corporal Aaron Madden on the bugle. There's Ben Halloran. He scored a double against Brisbane earlier this season. His only goals of the campaign came in that round 6 win at Hindmarsh. A 2-1 victory it was back then. Michael Jakobsen in the heart of defence. And a special presentation for both captains here.
Excuse me.
Not too far away from kickoff now. There is the birthday boy. 23 today. Scored the first goal of the season, did Scott Galloway against Sydney FC. And he's playing at right back with Ryan Kitto, the left back, in recent weeks. Matt Mackay winning the toss. (129th game for him at Suncorp in Brisbane colours. As we saw pre-game, he used to have the old colours as part of his hairdo way back when. He's reeled it in a bit since then. And there's some youngsters playing alongside Matt Mackay here this afternoon. For an early kickoff, we don't see a 2 p.m. kickoff too often in the A-League. It's hard to remember the last one. Matt Mackay made mention of that in his pre-game interview. 59 caps for the Socceroos as well. An Asian Cup winner in 2015, coming off the bench to play a significant part in that final. He also went to the World Cup in 2014 and played there as well. 323rd and final National League appearance. An emotional day for the Brisbane boy. Looking to make it 114 wins in his A-League career. 138th game as captain. As it was written up today in the Courier Mail, it's goodbye Matty, hello Robbie. Fowler in the house as Adelaide United kick things off, and they're ready to go to that right-hand side from the kickoff routine and put young Isaac Powell under the microscope early on. These young fullbacks could have their hands full today, Andy Harper.
Big day for them, and big day for a lot of Brisbane players. Contracts to be maybe salvaged, points to be made in front of new coach Robbie Fowler. Big welcome to him to the A-League as a coach. And new territory for all players concerned, really. 2 p.m. kickoffs. First time in 15 years they've had to deal with that.
Botiak and Wenzel Hall's made himself seen And tried to fire it in the top corner. A bright start from Brisbane.
Oh, as that ball falls to Dylan Wenzel-Halls, I'm sure Brisbane fans are just filing back through the last 6 or 7 weeks and recalling some of the stunning efforts. Possibly had too much time to think about this one, Brenton. An acre of space. Look at that from an Adelaide viewpoint. Zasaias dropping too deep and then having to correct. But really, that was up to Wenzel-Halls.
Well, Sean Evans didn't like the way that Zach Duncan left his mark on Michael Jakobsen, and we have a booking just over 60 seconds in for the young man, the 18-year-old who's scored his first A-League goal last week. If Sean Evans sees a yellow card offence, doesn't matter what time of the game it is, the card's coming out. Daniel Leck v Craig Goodwin. An interesting matchup today. Leck's had his hands full the last few weeks. Broke for Lopez. Here is the man of the moment. Mackay to Botiak, back from suspension. Around the corner from Lopez. Really are stroking it around nicely. The pitch just about as good as it's been for an A-League game at this venue all season.
Well, and given the amount of traffic, it's probably as good as it's going to get. These multi-use venues, and it's come up really nicely on this Anzac Day 2019.
D'Agostino getting clear of Goodwin. Played it cleverly enough, trying to play Dylan Wenzel-Halls back onside, and the flag never came for him.
Wasn't quite ready for that Wenzel-Halls, and in any event, Ryan Kiddo's going to be a difficult one to handle in a foot race such as that.
So used to seeing Galloway at left back, and Kiddo's, well, you see him come on and play right side off the bench often. Are you surprised they go Kiddo left back?
No, because Speedy, I think that is very possibly, well, if it was up to me, that would probably be his long-term future.
As a left back?
As a left back. Converted attacking player into left full-back. I think he's got a lot to offer there, Ryan Kiddo, actually.
And Galloway playing in the role that was Ryan Strain's for so long. Here he is again, playing the left foot pass. And he's going to whip it in on the left potentially. He plays his captain in instead. And here he is, Kiddo. Working against D'Agostino. Decent ball in, free header, and the opening goal arrives just 4 minutes in. Well, he didn't get up like that, but he steered home the header. The match winner in the 97th minute. Last time these teams met. And Nikola Milejuznic with the opener here, and Kiddo as a left back worked out just fine.
Well, that's certainly going to kill the expectation of the home fans who've gathered here. Beautiful in and away there from Ryan Kiddo to make space. It's the perfect cross. And two Brisbane players go for the front man Blackwood. It's a really bad decision from Tongyik. I'm not quite sure why he thought Jacob Pepper needed that assistance. But he's drawn to the ball, as it turns out, like a moth to the flame. And Brisbane have been burnt by the decision. Good positioning, comfortable header. And no chance for keeper.
Almost mocking the fact that he hasn't leapt for too many headers like that. And Nikola Milejuznic scores his 5th of the campaign, just his 11th start, 19th appearance all told. Right in front of the den. That's a significant early blow. Milejuznic back to Michael Moroney, who just wanted to get rid of it in that situation. Only found Lopez. Inadvertent 1-2 played by D'Agostino. Kept in by Pepper. Duncan was quick. Mackay back towards Duncan. May have been intended for D'Agostino. coming into today. Brisbane have actually scored more goals than Adelaide United. 35-33 it is now. Wonder if they can stay in front. Of course, their big problems have been at the back. The Raw conceded 67 now, 68 now, is it? Not too far away from taking an unwanted A-League record.
Well, the concession for the opening goal sums up the way they've defended this year, at least in part. It was just a horribly bad decision by Rowan Toniek.
The record is 70 goals conceded. They're now on 67. It's Brisbane Raw outfit. Kitto there first. Good header. That time Toniek stepped up but didn't really deal with it to great effect. Back to Isaias, who was thinking top corner. Matt Mackay took it off his shoelaces. Botiak striding out. D'Agostino trying to get into an area, and he's the target here. And overhit for the diminutive attacker. Good flow about this game. Goodwin, early ball. Nice idea, not really read by Mile Uznic, who applauded after the effect, but if he'd gone in anticipation, I reckon he might have been in there.
Had nice shape to it, didn't it? It was promising, and it was the right target. Mile Uznic in behind the defence, very difficult to reel in. Perhaps the angle a little bit narrow, and neither did Mile Uznic read it particularly well or anticipate it.
So that wait for a clean sheet for Brisbane dating back to round 5 of this season will go on into the Robbie Fowler tenure. He'll hope to arrest that alarming slide defensively in round 1 of next season. Wonder what matchup the draw makers will come up with for Robbie Fowler in his first game as an A-League coach. Former Perth Glory player, of course. Lovely first touch from Duncan. D'Agostino was fouled. Sean Evans going to pull it back for that. Nico Boland able to kick the ball away there. And
not really his job to decide where the free kick's taken, is it, Brenton? The ref was in control of it, but it has just delayed things, those couple of seconds.
Professionally, cynically. Pepper. Lopez has time to turn into that space. Botiak no way past Galloway. Boland slotting in between his centre halves. Kitto, nice weight on this pass for Goodwin to run onto. Now to play off Daniel Leck.
That's well played by Daniel Leck. He didn't give Craig Goodwin any space. Goodwin was going to get out of that situation. It was going to have to be some brilliance, and of course Craig Goodwin is capable of just that. But Daniel Leck defended that very, very well. Closed down completely. Treaded the line magnificently between overdoing it and committing a foul and defending his space. Well done, Daniel Leck.
Kiddo's onside. Leck in the road again. He's had some tough assignments of late. Joey Champness gave him the runaround last week. Florent Berengay had a day out against him for Melbourne City 3 weeks ago. He's hooking clear here, the 20-year-old.
The 20-year-old who, Speedy, flicked the hand through there. 20-year-old Speedy who, let's face it, is probably in his 6th game or so as a right fullback.
Yep, you're bang on. 6th start in a row in that role, and all those injuries to the likes of O'Toole and Hingett have left Darren Davies looking for options in the fullback roles, and Leck, who'd love to play further up the pitch, has had to slot in as a makeshift option. saw that yellow card offence for Zach Duncan. Looked like it was a fair call as God watches on. Maroney hurried into that early pass. What do you make of the Robbie Fowler appointment?
Well, we wish him all the best. I think now it's to be looking at the bright side of things. The debate has raged. My view, Brenton, is that the debate, most heated debate, should be before the decision. Now that it's made, we wish he and the club all the very best. There's a lot of potential upside, but a big job to do. Brisbane hasn't been in this sort of state as a club since the A-League begun, and it's taken all of us to great heights at various moments.
Interesting revelation on the Fox Football podcast yesterday that Daniel Sturridge has been offered to a few A-League clubs. The Liverpool goal-scoring star of recent seasons. So with that connection, maybe Daniel Sturridge in a Brisbane Roar shirt next season, who knows? It would be an exciting signing. Lopez's header only as far as his countryman Isaias. Coolly done by Bolden with Duncan sniffing around. Halloran able to turn. Uses Mile Uznic, pass a little under hit. Here comes Galloway. Overlapping run, played in, across the face, and Tonic dealt with the ball along the deck a lot better than he did with the aerial threat earlier on. Wenzel Halls clearly fouled by Maroney. The advantage was not accruing there.
But he gave it a chance. Sean Evans, the ref, did well. This is a dangerous moment for Brisbane just before then. They conceded space in midfield so poorly. Tonic managed to clear, and Botek linked nicely to get the ball to Wenzel Halls.
Just across the line before Powell could get a foot on it. 17 years of age, 6th game for him.
And amidst the disappointment that this has been for Brisbane Roar this season, Brenton, every cloud does have a silver lining, and the fact that you're able to pump kids through and give them 6, 7, 8 games, perhaps before otherwise their time would have come, is something that will be invaluable. Robbie Fowler pre-game said Darren Davies' knowledge of the youngsters, not just in Brisbane but around the league and the structures of things, is going to be invaluable. And this experience for the likes of Powell, just fantastic. He's done well in very, very difficult circumstances, the youngster.
Would have been offside if Goodwin had tried to run onto that one. Overhit by his captain anyway. Botiak sneaking in behind. Wenzel Halls in the channel, now in the middle. D'Agostino wants it deeper. He'll kick this one in. Has to go all the way back to Leck. Deflection on that cross, dealt with by Jakobsen. Back in by Lopez for the goal kick. Let's see what it all means on the live ladder. Andy Harper, there's a lot of other clubs interested in what Adelaide United do today. And right now they'd be 4 points clear in the race for 4th, and that gives you a home final. If they host the final, it'll be on Sunday week, so they'll have a nice 10-day build-up for that one. But Wellington hoping to stay in the conversation if Brisbane can do them a favour here.
And I just think, Speedy, looking at that, you ask the clubs who they'd prefer to play blah, blah, blah in finals, and they never say anything. But I reckon Adelaide would probably be the most awkward opponent that teams might come up against. Of course, Perth have streeted the field this year and the best team in the land thus far. If you're looking at gnarly opponents in cutthroat matches, the Marco Kurtz organised, trained and coached team would certainly be up there in the discussion.
With that FFA Cup trophy sitting in the cabinet, I don't mind knockout football one little bit. Problem is, I'll probably only host one final. Have to get it done on the road in the other two, barring some amazing upsets come finals time. Boland keeps it narrow. Michael Moroney, 137th game as a Red today. That's equal third on their all-time appearances list, with Travis Dodd set to go past him next week. Now Halloran. Well, he wanted to use Galloway, who stayed on side courtesy of Tonyik in the middle. And he's back on side here again. Delivery decent. Well marshalled by Pepper, and Boland never looked that confident.
Well, the crowd not applauding the miss from Mirko Boland. It's 17 minutes clocked off here, and that would be one of the acknowledgements today for Matty Mackay. As the cross is slung in, Pepper deals with that well. And Boland takes his applause.
Yep, many of them are standing around this ground, particularly in the den. And there's the stats. And that's all-time appearances for the club, FFA Cup, Asian Champions League as well. And a very impressive back catalogue of goals as well, as we saw in the pre-game. On the end of some special moments in the Ange Postecoglou era. There was another volley at the den end when he looped it over the goalkeeper. He's come up with some very handy ones, and here he is winning it back right on cue in the 19th minute. Always surprised that we don't do it in the 17th minute half, which of course is the 16. Once it ticks over at 16:01, and you keep applauding there.
Yeah, Speedy, you're getting way too fine at maths on people. Most of us only think 17 when we see 1-7.
Decent diagonal, dragged out of the sky by Goodwin. Pass coming from Moroney. Get it back here from Isaias. Well, he thought he was going to get it back, but he wound up being a turnover to Botiak, who's had a lot of ball, just hasn't been able to pinpoint too many teammates in a dangerous situation. Wenzel Halls, D'Agostino. Wenzel Halls was the intended target, but given away by the Australian under-23 international. Of course, D'Agostino scored a couple of goals against South Korea in that most recent tournament for Graham Arnold's under-23s. Just wonder whether Wenzel Halls might be able to overtake him at international level. He's 21 years of age, Wenzel Halls. Wonder if he's on the radar for that team going forward as they try and secure a berth at next year's Olympics. Who would you be taking out of those two if it was
Wenzel Halls? He has to start coming into that calculation. I mean, to me, he's shaping up with a long way to go and a lot of polishing up and filing back of the edges, etc. And I don't know what he's like, you know, mentality-wise, but he is the next Brett Holman-style player we've got. Wenzel Halls. Just the spaces he takes up, his inclinations when he picks up the ball, his nose for goal and the types of goals he scores.
Of course, Brett Holman still on the books, but hasn't been cited for a long time, battling a knee injury that looks set to end his career, unfortunately. Time is the shout for Moroney, who took plenty of it. Trying to pick the pocket of Boland. Of course, Duncan's got to be careful with the way that he goes about it. He won it back cleanly. Well played, young man, on a yellow. D'Agostino trying to shape it. Not a bad idea for Botiak. Well read by Izzo, who's going to play game number 100 in that final next week.
And that's been the issue for Brisbane so far in attack. They've had great possession in really good parts of the field. This is just the latest in the line. Now, you applaud the idea from Agostino, but once again, as Botiak's done twice now from the other side, the idea was great, the execution not quite so. It might have put Adelaide under more pressure.
Halloran, Tonyik timed his challenge nicely and wins a throw-in to boot. Been around a long time now, but only playing his 25th game in the A-League. Well, the whole left side of the pitch is there so far as Adelaide United are concerned, if they want to use it. That's right in front of Nick Meredith on the sideline.
Yeah, Speedy, it's interesting listening to Darren Davies here. Brisbane are playing a fairly traditional 4-4-2, and what that means is when the ball's on one side and comes the other side, you all shuffle across and move across as a unit, but Nick D'Agostino in particular just simply isn't doing that. Just let this develop.
Blackwood, a little tug of his shirt came from Pepper there. And a counter-attack on. It's going to slice off the outside of the boot of Duncan, who was upended. And Mirko Boland joins the youngster in the book as we go back to Nick.
Yeah, Speed, I don't know whether he just doesn't understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure he does what Darren Davies is wanting to do, but the work ethic and the determination to get it done just isn't there. And Adelaide, a number of times, have come down this left-hand side when they really shouldn't have been able to. So, you know, we saw a really poor effort from Brisbane the other night, and a few signs that, you know, it's still there again today.
Yeah, they copped 6 goals last start against the Jets at home. Of course, they once scored 7 against Adelaide United, the biggest win in Brisbane history, the biggest loss in the Reds. That was when Ange Postecoglou's tenure was really taking off. Besar Barisha with 4 goals that day. Izzo remained calm even though D'Agostino was hunting him down. Up goes Botiak, spring heel. And the referee sees the free kick against Matty Mackay. He's got some history against Adelaide United down the years so far as cards are concerned. 3 of his 6 red cards in his A-League career have come against Adelaide United.
Well, I don't know. I'd say that's more foul on the Adelaide player, by the Adelaide player.
You reckon? I think Matt Mackay knows his timing.
Comes in with his leg high, extended, stud showing.
Space here again for Kitto. Blackwood in the middle. After scoring a header last week against the Victory, but Pepper stops it getting through to him. Kitto stands it up. Oh, Milojusnic climbing for another header. And get over the top of that one. Adelaide United on track for the first ever season sweep in this fixture. First time they'll ever record 3 straight wins against Brisbane if they can take all 3 points away from Suncorp. Now able to shepherd it out of play. Aaron Davies telling his subs to go and do a little warm-up. Millie to the byline, earning a corner for his team. First corner of the game, 26 minutes in. Craig Goodwin goalless in his last 8 games. Take some confidence into the finals by getting on the score sheet today. Now we'll be trying to set one of the big men up in the middle. Jacobson on the move. Blackwood stationary. Well, D'Agostino took it out of his goalkeeper's hands. Lopez charging down the Halloran shot. Clever ball, allowing Mile Uznic to turn. Kiddo looking for the options on the left. Oh, in behind. Halloran went for goal, and Jamie Young makes another save. Blackwood was in the middle, not picked out by Halloran, and he's most upset about that. What about the guile in the pass from Isaias, just delaying it long enough?
Yeah, such a clever player. Brisbane boy, Ben Halloran, did his schooling. He's exposed Powell. And a touch and go one. The amount of time that Ben's got here, and he's trying to calibrate the angle of the retreat by defender Tongic. Do I try and square it for Blackwood, or do I go myself? These are split-second decisions. You can't criticise him for having a go himself in that situation.
Would have been reviewing whether he was onside as well, Ben Halloran. Must have been a close run thing with Tonjic in the middle. Could have used his goalkeeper, tried to squeeze one out to Mile Uznic instead. So was Ben Halloran on or off? Well, the goal would have stood had he beaten Young or found Blackwood.
I need you.
Jacob Pepper, billed as the best friend and chauffeur driver of Eric Botiak, who posted on social media earlier today his last trip to a Brisbane game, so certainly on his way next season is the Frenchman. Halloran trying to burn off Pepper. Mile Uznic, first time delivery. Good one! Thinking the spectacular.
Well, he picked that shot selection very early on. Not going to go and challenge this with my head. I think this is going to sail over the defender. Well, that was a good decision. He set beautifully. Look, this has only got one outcome. From Goodwin's viewpoint, just didn't connect, and maybe enough done by Daniel Leck to finally block the last view. Goodwin would have had of the ball, but a good chance for Adelaide. Brisbane showing just the minimum resistance, really. Just enough resistance from Brisbane. Only just enough.
Which corner do you reckon Goodwin was going for?
I reckon he was not picking a corner, Speedy. I reckon he was backing himself, trying to concentrate on good contact and let the gods take care of the rest.
Blackwood bringing Galloway into it. Another miscontrol from Moroney, maybe punished. Duncan turned cleverly, found Botiak. And he showed too much of it to Jakobsen. That's surely a booking, the way that he went in on the Dane after losing control there. Kiddo making the point, and maybe Sean Evans just taking a little bit of time with Jakobsen still down.
Well, it was one touch too many when in possession from Botiak. Beautiful little turn this from Duncan. That's lovely play. Touch, and you're going to shoot, you shoot there. One touch too many, and then one touch not required at all. And that should be a yellow card, I agree, if he's in the mood. If Duncan gets one.
Don't worry, Harps, he has been booked.
Right.
And it's a very similar challenge to the one that saw him sent off a few weeks back. And that is his 11th yellow of the season, to go with 2 reds. So he's not shy of a card. And whoever picks him up for next season, I think they'll be without him in week 1, because that's 8 yellows in the totting up process, if you like, because 4 of the other yellows have led to reds. If you follow my mathematical brief.
That's right. I'm still getting over 16th minute, 17th minute. He's a serial offender, Eric Botiak. We've loved watching him play, but he's a chronic recidivist. I mean, to be back from suspension with exactly the same tackle as you've highlighted, Speedy, to just lunge in like that. Potential suitors take notice of this sort of stuff. Does this behaviour become a liability? And he's hit Brisbane raw at the worst time in their A-League career. In a good team, he could do special things, I think, but he's not going to play enough if he keeps making judgments like that.
He's in exalted company. He's alongside Pantelides with, correction, 12 yellow cards in a campaign. Goodwin, good looking ball in. Tonic was holding off Blackwood, keeping him at arm's length.
Well, that's a decent tussle. And Blackwood, yeah, frustrated because, you know, your job is to get that front position. You've got to muscle into that front position. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. The job's your job.
So is this the 34th minute applause, Marks? And they're doing it in the 34th minute before it becomes, now it's the Enrique applause, of course, for the 33.
Come on, Speedy.
Well, I wonder if they'll go double Matt Mackay and just keep the applause going for 2 minutes. SIS, away by Pepper. Where is the slippery fish? Watching on. Out with injury today, unfortunately. The grand final hero on multiple occasions. 3-time championship winner. That would have brought a tear to his eye, no doubt. Awkward clearance. Izzo only found Leck. D'Agostino. Well, the advantage is accruing here for look who. Matt Mackay. Go on, Matty Mackay. Denied by Izzo. Thumped home by Wenzel Halls for the equaliser. So Matt Mackay will get the assist. And we are level at Suncorp Stadium in Mackay's farewell game.
Well, Dylan hasn't read the script. This goal's not about you, young fella. Get to Matty Mackay, the provider, and give him his due. Well, it opened up brilliantly onto his right foot. D'Agostino gets out of trouble, really, with a poor piece of play to start with, and the acreage opened up for Matt Mackay. Brenton Speed was sensing something special. Izzo can only parry, and Wenzel Halls finishes really emphatically.
And clearly onside as well, as that replay showed. So Dylan Wenzel-Halls, who scored his first A-League goal against the Reds in round 17, now has another. His 5th goal of the campaign. Everyone else celebrating with Matt Mackay. Dylan Wenzel-Halls celebrating with those in the front row. So it's game on again in the race for that 4th spot in the home final in the A-League. Wellington, the door has been left ajar, at the time being at least.
Well, pretty fortunate the way it fell to Matt Mackay. But due credit to Sean Evans, who let the play breathe. He was poised to offer a free kick for the challenge on D'Agostino, who's now taken lumps out of Asayas, I think it is.
Yep. Oh,
that's a haymaker. Haymaker and a half. That has to be a card as well. Whooshka.
oh.
The way Nick has landed himself is lucky he didn't do more damage. It's a very awkward fall from him. Heavy contact on the Adelaide skipper.
How do you assess the elbow being thrown there from D'Agostino right into the sternum region? Is that more a protective mechanism from D'Agostino? Or?
I think this was one of those ones, Speedy. He's so off balance with the swipe he's taken with his foot. This is just a natural reaction. His effort was to kick Asayas and the ball out of Suncorp Stadium. What he was doing with his elbow was a complete afterthought.
I think SIS will just check the number of D'Agostino. There it is for you, 26, and there may be a little square up at some stage. Of course, he's got to be careful with any square ups, given that the finals are around the corner.
It seems as though Nick's going to escape a sanction, an official sanction for that haymaker. Certainly, I think, moves into the reckless category.
So Adelaide United captain getting his breath back and ready to get back out there. That's Goodwin. Shows elite control again. Love the eagerness of the ball girl just to provide another one there if required, but not needed. All adds to the up-tempo flavour in the A-League.
She just wants to watch the game, get it on.
Yeah, exactly.
I think she represents the views of the majority.
Duncan's ball almost made it a 50-50, but SIS bailed out on Matt Mackay that time. Neatly done by Izzo to flick one out to Moroney. Blackwood backing in. No one reading his ability to get that flick on going. Oh, Pepper had to be quick. Otherwise, it would have been a 2-on goalkeeper situation. Blackwood, a hold-up play. Works an angle to Galloway once more. Shank, SIS got there first. He's played every minute of this season. There he was into the back of D'Agostino, prompting the whistle. He is their Iron Man. No suspension worries for him this campaign. And that's pretty good going in this tough physical league.
It's been an amazing performance from him. I think most objective assessment holds that this Adelaide squad could do with a couple more resources. And for Kurtz, as a coach, to have them positioned is one thing. On field for the likes of Goodwin now in possession, but certainly the skipper Sayers, a mighty performance from him to drive the team to this stage of the season.
Blackwood likes that outlet of Galloway, and that's overhit by the right back. Halloran took a tumble on the edge of the box there, just had a little quizzical look at Sean Evans, who saw nothing untoward. Just thought when Blackwood was facing up and saw teammates on the edge of the area, might have been able to go more direct there, but used the right back. Halloran won the flick on. Blackwood around Tonyik. Support coming from Powell, but it's still alive for Blackwood. Oh, nearly across the face of Young and glancing off the bottom of the post.
Well, he skipped through nicely. He has good close control, Blackwood. That loping styler. Here's the angled shot. Jamie Young scrambling. Powell diving in. Tonyik can't block the shot. It's really, I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that without at least getting some help one way or the other without from the goalpost. Good work from George Blackwood.
Good rise by D'Agostino. Oh, Moroney back to his keeper. It was all a bit too hairy for Izzo's liking. It's one of the weapons keeping D'Agostino in the side at the moment, his ability to launch these long throws. All the way through, Botiak! Well, the air swing. He has scored some spectacular goals this season. The bicycle kick down in Gosford, and this time the fresh airing. Amazing how those long throws can lead to first-time opportunities. Powell ran into a brick wall. Milostic quickly back to his feet. Approaching half-time. Brisbane just taking their time. D'Agostino hoping a teammate might be running into that space. Out of play. D'Agostino can wind up again here. Duncan will be well advised to leave it. Surely they can't set up another chance like this. Towards the penalty spot. That time Jakobsen stepped up at the right time. Got away from Botiak again. Given the benefit of the doubt, that ball was still kind of in play, rather than being punted into the stands after crossing the sideline.
Here's the effort from Botiak. He is not unlikely to do some damage from there, as he reported. Speedy, we have seen him do it before. Fortunately for Brisbane and he, the air swing is the best he could muster. It's a little bit of a flat period, this, for Adelaide. Marco Kurtz will be wanting them to shake out of it quick, smart, and get safely to half-time in the team talk.
Hung up towards D'Agostino, back across goal, couldn't find Wenzel Halls. It was Boland tracking back from midfield. Gee, Zach Duncan's done some nice things for an 18-year-old in this first half with his willingness and endeavour to go forward and make things happen. Little 1-2s in midfield. There's Wenzel Halls, Mackay, Lopez, one-touch stuff, and D'Agostino lets the air out of the balloon. 3 minutes being added on here after multiple stoppages for injury and clattering challenges. Just the second goal Adelaide United have conceded in their last 5 games. Duncan again getting the better of Isaias. And that weight on the pass allows Botiak to run onto it. Oh, he tried the nutmeg and Galloway saw it coming. Mackay. Botiak might have been spinning in behind Galloway. Here's the chance for Adelaide United to find a spark again. Galloway has had plenty of crossing opportunities. Back onto his left. Blackwood trying to get there. He did. And couldn't direct the header on target.
Geez, that was better. Better from George Blackwood. Didn't come with a goal, obviously, but he generally till now has not been threatening enough in the penalty area when the ball swung in like this. But he scored with his head last week, and he manipulated that opportunity really well. Got on the blind side of Leck and then overpowered him in the air. Couldn't control the header, which obviously was unfortunate, but much better from George Blackwood.
Good rise by Pepper. Duncan won the flick on, off the arm of Boland. Was the appeal. Duncan will get there again, 50-50 with Jakobsen, and he's going to go into the book. So a final set piece coming up for the home team here on the stroke of half-time. Duncan has stayed down.
Well, you've called it already, Brenton. He's done some really nice things tonight, but this opportunity, or this afternoon, this opportunity for Brisbane, and now the fact that as a double advantage, Jakobsen's on notice for the entirety of the second half. This comes purely because of energy and appetite. There's a ball there, I've got to win it for my team. It's no special thing to get there and do anything, but something comes because of that effort from Zach Duncan, and this is a great chance right at the death of the first half.
Ruan Toniak never scored an A-League goal. This would be a good time to pop up. The righty or the lefty to whip it in. It's Botiak going for goal, and the deflection off Halloran. Don't think there'll be time to take the corner, or will there? Sean Evans doesn't mind adding time upon time. He's going to give Brisbane the chance to take another set piece. They're leaving Matt Mackay alone. They were. Elsnich picked him up eventually. Botiak, man down in the box, appeals for a penalty. Check on that later as Pepper took a tumble. We still go on. Botiak, right foot delivery. Header! D'Agostino! Brisbane take the lead before half-time. 4 minutes plus of stoppage time added on, and they utilise all of that to go into the sheds in front through Nick D'Agostino. Just his third A-League goal in game number 35, and a rare right foot assist from Eric Botiak.
Well, firstly, they want to thank Zach Duncan for this opportunity happening at all. And here's the issue for Brisbane. Get Botiak on the right wing, not the left, because we've seen 2 previous attempted exchanges between Botiak and D'Agostino. Neither came anything like near bearing fruit. And right at the death of half-time, Botiak says, the answer's my right boot, and I'll find you Bonts, Nick. And that's a beautiful header from D'Agostino to give Brisbane the lead.
Pinpoint into the side netting. Nick D'Agostino says, I am an A-League goal scorer. Well, forget Fergie time. It's all about Evans time here. 5.5 minutes being added on. Curious
And how close did Sean Evans come to blowing full time? You saw the whistle go to his mouth and said, no, we'll let the corner go.
And then the next phase from the corner go. And Adelaide United were fuming about that. They're crowding the referee right now, saying, where did all that stoppage time come from? And I think they've got a fair point. Craig Goodwin's still going on about it. SIS playing peacemaker. The extra minute added on by Sean Evans, utilised to full effect by the Brisbane Roar, who turned it around in the first half. Well, Wellington are enjoying this result right now because it's 2-1 to the Roar at the break. Let's get down to Nick.
Yeah, Speedy got Dindal Munzel Halls. Dylan, you didn't a terrible start, obviously conceding, but you seem to have worked your way into it as the half's gone on.
Yeah, look, we knew obviously Adelaide would come flying at the blocks, and I think it was just the first 20 minutes we had to weather. Obviously, we got disappointed we conceded so early, but the reaction was positive. We're 2-1 up at half time going into the shed, so that's positive.
It's your home ground. Can you work out when you jump the fence and run to the crowd, you can find somewhere where you don't fall over?
Yeah, look, it happened against Sydney and it's happened again, so obviously that's disappointing to almost hurt myself, but it's the best feeling scoring goals, and on an occasion like this where the Anzac Day speaks for itself, and we're sending off Matty and Enrique, two absolute legends, so the emotions got the better of me.
Well said, mate. Go and have a drink.
Cheers.
Well, there's no real problem with him falling over because it means that he's scored a goal. So that's a positive for Brisbane Roar. He scored the first, D'Agostino with the second in between Miliusnic. But John Cosmina here, quick chat before the break. Adelaide are blowing up the Lux about the fact that Sean Evans played that amount of injury time, but it seemed that after 3 minutes they clocked off and went back into the sheds. That defending...
Oh, it's not even after 3 minutes, Adam. The point is, you don't bother arguing about it after the event. They should have been switched on during the event, but also they've had enough possession and enough control in this game to be ahead. And they haven't, and they've allowed Brisbane to come back in, so maybe they should address that issue rather than worried about the referee playing an extra minute or so. Big deal.
Yep, brilliant header from Nick D'Agostino to give the Roar the lead. We're back in a moment from Suncorp Stadium on Anzac Day Football live on Channel 505 around the country. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
mates were there for when me and my family needed them most. The services they provided me meant that I'm still here today.
Last day for a lot of things for Matt Mackay, namely his football career, his professional football career, and as usual he's been heavily involved in a goal that he was reluctant to take a shot on. In the end he did, carried out, Wenzel Hall scores, and as Wenzel Hall does when he scores, slips over, but the entire Brisbane Roar crew, apart from Wenzel Halls who took off, went over to Matt Mackay to congratulate him, and Brisbane Roar lead at half-time. Adam Peacock alongside John Cosmina. Weird old game because Adelaide fly out of the box, and then nothing.
Adelaide have been firing for most of that 45 minutes. They were comfortable in terms of how they dealt with anything that Brisbane did construct. I think they became more comfortable as the game went on. They got an early lead. They created some opportunities. They weren't really being tested. They were fairly dominant in terms of possession, but just even keeping the ball, Brisbane weren't offering a lot. And then all of a sudden they got sucker punched twice. They gave the cheap ball away in the middle of the park. I mean, here's the first goal. Let's have a look at Nikola Miliušinić here sneaking in. But look at the way the Brisbane defensive set up. They've all left both gone to the front post. Players, Miliušinić has peeled off and just got a free header at the back stick.
They've scored 19 of 33 goals now, Adelaide United, from crosses. So dangerous in that regard. But yeah, Isaac Powell was let known of his responsibilities throughout the course of that first 20 minutes, and Miliušinić pretty happy with himself in getting the opening goal. After that, though, and this was weird, it was from a horrible kick-out from Paul Izzo that the goal came for Dylan Wenzel Halls, but yeah, they were just totally out of shape by virtue of the fact that their keeper just punted it and it went to no one.
Massive hole in the middle of the park. You can see that, you see the gap start to open up now. We've got basically I can't see that the player is not doing it. Craig Goodwin it should have probably come back. He's arguing about the free kick, but look at the space Matt Mackay's got. You've got a 3 against 3 at the back, so your defenders have to back off. Matt Mackay's he's shown his experience there and just basically waited for the defenders to commit, look for the opportunity to open up. He's taken a shot on his uncomfortable foot, his non-preferred foot. Good strike on target. Paul Izzo can't hold it, and Dylan Wenzel Halls is the sniffer. He's in there, and that's what his job is. And the slip over, but here they've already had the corner. This is the second phase, and the ball's come out. Look at the Adelaide numbers in that box. There's 3 or 4 guys in that front half of the goal not doing anything. They've just switched off. They've got call ball watching, not player watching, and no competition on the cross there. And look, it was a good cross from Eric Botiak. I think probably what would have caught Adelaide out was the early ball rather than taking a touch. It was on his non-preferred foot as well. But look, you've got to stay alive in those situations. It's the last minute. You've already conceded one. You're back to 1-1 in a game you've got to win. Yeah. Last minute before half-time, you don't want to concede. They've done it.
Yeah, a reminder with the extra time, it is a minimum of whatever minutes. It was 3. Sean Evans went to almost 5 there. So Adelaide not too happy about that. The way that they've created their chances, though, they have been pretty patient with the ball. And I remember that beautiful ball that Isaias played through for Benny Halloran. Not as many of those opportunities the half went on.
No, but that's one of the few times that Adelaide have actually made the front men, the wingers, Goodwin and Halloran, have made runs in behind. But I mean, Craig Goodwin is always going to be difficult to score from there. Maybe be a little bit more clever and look to bring it down. I think it's George Blackwood gets in here. It's not a bad attempt, but he's probably better off playing Halloran in there and looking if we can get into a situation where you're in behind the Brisbane defence. So look, Adelaide have made a lot of opportunities. They've had some good possession. That one was just after the second goal was scored. It was a little bit difficult for Blackwood to get there, but you can see that they're good enough to not be down 2-1. But it's physically, and that's in terms of football, but mentally they've switched off twice and copped 2 goals for it.
Yeah, they want to sort it out, otherwise a home final is in the hands of Wellington when they play Perth on Sunday over there in Perth. So we're off to a quick break. We say farewell, Brisbane do anyway, to Enrique, their goal-scoring legend, especially in big games, especially in grand finals. He's done it a number of times here at Suncorp Stadium, he and his family enjoying it. We're back in a moment with the second half from Suncorp.
Best of luck to Brisbane Roar on Anzac Day against Adelaide United. Shout out to Matt McKay, congratulations on a great career. We've come a long way from St. Saints. Also, I'd like to say hello to my family, Anita, Jack, and my family.
G'day, I'm Lieutenant Nathan Freeman, Task Group Taji here. Being from Adelaide, I'm a huge Adelaide United supporter. I just wanted to say shout out to all, wish you good luck on your upcoming Anzac Day clash against Brisbane. We'll cheer for you over here. Go Reds!
Farewell to another Brisbane legend today. 168 games for the club for the slippery fish, Enrique, the 33-year-old. Will say farewell to the A-League after 3 championship wins. He played 13 games for today's opponents as well. Adelaide United, unfortunately unable to take the pitch today due to a groin injury, but he's going to play on in the local league next year. We wish him well. Brisbane with a shock lead, about to get the second half underway. Remember, Adelaide United with all to play for today, looking for 3 points to wrap up a home final. But currently they're opening the door for the Wellington Phoenix, who go on the road this weekend to face Perth That's the final game of the round on Sunday. You'd expect some kind of reaction here from the visitors, Andy Harper.
Yeah, Marco Kurtz, Adelaide coach, outstanding practitioner, the art of coaching, has had a cage to rattle at half-time.
Oh, Toniak worked it out in the end. Miliosnic, clever touch out in front of Galloway. And he'll get a corner out of it. Played it out off Powell. The same corner from where Brisbane were able to take the lead in the 49th minute of the first half.
Attack the ball!
Bit of controversy about how long that first half went on for. Brisbane weren't complaining though. Agostino heading home to give them the lead as Pepper heads it out for another go.
I heard a little bit too, Jacob Pepper, but he's done very, very well. What a revelation over the last period of time, him moving from the centre of midfield to the centre of defence.
Goodwin, near post delivery. Dealt with by Leck. They want a handball, they get it against Wenzel Hall, so another chance for Goodwin to whip one in on that left. Second ball removed from the pitch. Marco Kurtz having a little word to the fourth official, Alex King, about what he's seeing at these set pieces. Goodwin's delivery, any kind of flick, or would have been really dangerous, but there were no touches, and it went wide of Jamie Young's right post, much to his relief.
Well, it very nearly didn't need any help at all. It just curled agonisingly close from an Adelaide viewpoint. In that halfway house, Jamie Young, unable to make a decision whether to go or stay.
And if Blackwood just kept on running, he would have taken the ball right into the back of the net, but he anticipated that someone was going to deal with it. Ninth, hosting fourth today. And it's the team second from bottom on the A-League ladder in front. Trying to square the ledger all time between these clubs. If they can get the win today, it'll be 18 wins apiece down the years. Jakobsen able to find Isaias. Galloway asking where the next option is. Miliosnic wanted it short. Showing patience here, the Reds, but Isaias' ball asked too much of Kiddo. And Goodwin slowing things down. Now, did D'Agostino take that free kick? Goodwin thought so. Referee sides with Brisbane. Raw, a little sloppy. Get away with it though. Lopez, well, he won the ball, followed through on Boland, who's feeling the full effect of that challenge. Slamming the turf in frustration, but Evans thought it was okay. Botiak. Deflection, they say, off the hand of Galloway. He had it tucked in by his side, and it's play on again. Boland's back to his feet. He's a player you've got your eye on, don't you, Mirko Boland, for making the most of contact?
I have brought that to the public's attention on one occasion. Brenton, you doing so now?
Well, what do you see there? Do you think...
I was comfortable with the referee's decision, Brenton.
Oh, Goodwin flicks it over the top of Pepper. He's in behind. Craig Goodwin, tap in for Blackwood, and it's 2-2, just like that. So clever by Goodwin. Brisbane not complaining too much. There was a high boot involved at one stage. But George Blackwood makes it 2-2, and it's 2-2.
Well, they're all asking the questions, and I must admit, here's Bocek's call for a handball. And the fact that the assistant referee was on the other side of the field, I don't know, it's a touch and go, and that's really touch and go. That's a huge benefit of the doubt. Tongic again, I'm not quite sure what Ruan is thinking there. That's in high boot territory. The fact that he doesn't make contact is neither here nor there. Blackwood on, it's high boot. No contact, it becomes an indirect free kick. That's the line of delineation. Then Ruan Tongnic's just let George Blackwood go. Credit certainly the Adelaide perseverance and attack, and well done Craig Goodwin. Clever play. And the VAR is happy that no obvious error has been made.
And the southpaw, Darren Davies, was holding out hope that maybe the VAR may have overturned it, but you can't take a goal off them. There's no clear and obvious error there. As it stays in here for Botiak. Duncan outstanding again, teased in, and nearly an own goal. It's off Jakobsen, and that allows Izzo to save it with his hands. No intentional back pass there. Well, it's all action this game.
Well, Wendell Halls, I mean, Jakobsen had to make an effort at that ball, because if he doesn't, Wendell Halls gets a tap in. Nice ball in, as it was, by Eric Botiak. Very lively start to this second half.
So he is under pressure. Gee, Zach Duncan's got to be catching the eye of Robbie Fowler. How old's this kid? 18, you say? Righto. He's got a future, doesn't he?
He's really putting a very good show on today.
Darren Davies playing ball boy.
Just on that goal, I can cope with the fact that the officials have decided that's not dangerous play. I would, however, have thought that if I'm Chris Griffiths-Jones, I would have said, Sean, maybe come and have a look, have a second look yourself.
What, to go back and re-referee that and say that's a high boot indirect free
Sure,
kick?
why not? Isn't that the point of it?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, the ball is bouncing in dispute. Goodwin gets there first with a boot, and Pepper's electing to stoop. Why doesn't he go with a boot v boot?
Because you're not supposed to go with high feet, Brenton. That's the rule.
Here's another look at it.
Mate, I'm sorry. It's worth another look if you're the referee.
Oh, Wenzel Halls nearly produced the strike that would have been worth another look. Here we go. Goodwin.
But there's a very good reason why he doesn't go lead with his boot, Jacob Pepper, because you're not supposed to in those situations. How would you define a high boot otherwise, Brenton?
Well, Darren Davies is in your corner.
It's not about being in his corner. Of course, he's prosecuting his team's case. They've just leaked a goal.
If Pepper kept his head at the natural height, and Goodwin's boot was up that high, then sure. But Pepper's stooping.
Let me put it this way, Brent. If you're talking about natural heights, then Jacob's head was closer to where it normally would be than Craig's boot was.
So once a defender comes over and sticks their head in, all rights are out the window for an attacking player trying to burst into the box with skill, utilising their foot in football. You say.
I've said enough.
That's a good debate.
I've said enough. The public jury can make their own mind up.
Oh, I can just see Twitter just putting up the poll as we speak on Fox Football. Maybe they deserved a little something, Adelaide United, after the controversy time-wise at the back end of that first half. Duncan again gets the better of a couple. He's got to watch his step flying into challenges though. Oh, Galloway flicked it away from him. Really good football to watch, isn't it? There's 50-50s all over the place. Wenzel Halls now with the use of the shoulder, will keep it in. Pulls it back. D'Agostino had a look around, said that's for me, and couldn't get there. We had 7 goals last time these teams squared off. 4 already. Prospect of more. All the neutrals hope, and all the Adelaide United fans hope they can find a winner, of course. They want to see a home final next week. Against the Wellington or against the Melbourne City. Jakobsen to the tumble over the top of Wenzel Halls. The referee says let's get on with it. And Jakobsen thinks he deserves a free kick. Adelaide United have the ball. Sean Evans doesn't see what the hoo-ha's about. Ever winning a header there, Harps. Climbing high.
Done that with a fair degree of regularity, actually. Winning the ball, that is. Done a great job.
Well, it's all pretty tight there, but Lopez remained calm. Mackay uses Ruan Tonic. Goes back towards Mackay, tried to flick it around Isaias, who won it cleanly. Stepped around the sliding challenge. Isaias plays a clever ball to Goodwin, and that deflection favoured Young, as Leck got a little touch on it. Listen to the roar for Matty. Mackay attacking the den end. D'Agostino clips it. Botiak back across the face, unable to find a teammate with the hopeful square pass. Comes shot. United have been on a hot streak of late, taken 10 points out of the last 12 available to climb all the way to 4th. Now Miliosnic, who opened the scoring very early on in this game. Oh, clever turn, upended by Botiak. No, there's no foul there. And now he gets the better of Isaias. Tricky play by Botiak, somehow finding an angle around Isaias, who nearly put the saddle on. Clever ball. D'Agostino penalty has to be. It is. Upended by Izzo. And Brisbane, attacking the den end, have the chance to reclaim the lead. And some are saying to Matt Mackay, do you want to take it?
Well, brilliant play by Duncan again. What a day out he's having. Used his body expertly in the initial stage to cut off the retreats of the defending players. And the pass-through was magnificent. Look at this. Difficult one to retrieve. A lot of momentum could be lost, but he got rid of Isaias beautifully. And then running into a very narrow corridor, finds D'Agostino beautifully. It looks as though Izzo is going to escape without a yellow card here. I'm not quite sure how. It's certainly not a red card offence, but it looks definitely to me to be a yellow card offence.
He went back to the old first day of gymnastics as a 3-year-old, D'Agostino, with the tumble roll. Clearly fouled that. And no need for the VAR to check it. Well, this is the old Signori, 2-foot step, left footer, from Lazio days of yesteryear. Eric Botiak to give Brisbane the lead again. Oh, cheeky! The Frenchman with a little parting gift. It just crawled its way past Izzo, who couldn't get back to his feet in time. Well, that is taking the mickey.
That's one way of putting it. It was a horrible moment there. I thought, he's beaten the keeper, but that's not actually going to make it. That's not going to make it. There's the foul. There's the tumble. That's a heavy one from D'Agostino. A penalty well won, beautifully set up by Duncan. I think I can. I think I can. Oh, he's got the tongue just stuck in the cheek there as well, if you don't mind. On the run-up.
Well, how much risk in that? Izzo perhaps diving off his line there cost him. If he stayed on his line, I reckon he might get back and get something on it. But Botiak, in his final game for the club, makes it 7 goals for the season, and Brisbane back in front, and Wellington fans punch the air again.
Well, maybe poor Izzo, this is a long bow to draw, but maybe he had time actually to get up and have another jump at the ball. It went so slowly.
Oh, Duncan, 18 years of age. We are watching a superb performance from a teenager in the A-League who wouldn't have been given his opportunity perhaps but for all that's gone on and gone wrong with Brisbane this season.
Picked up a yellow card after a minute or so.
Yeah.
So he's done very well to rebalance after that. Superb performance.
Around the corner, Blackwood. Tonyek just forced him wide in the end. Goodwin back out towards Blackwood. Leck was a chance, won it cleanly. Only Mile Josnic in the middle, so Goodwin, well, he only succeeded in finding the referee in the road there. Great shoulder-to-shoulder work, Matt Mackay. D'Agostino didn't have the acceleration to track down that one. Boland, Goodwin. Overlapping run, Kiddo tried to slide him in on the angle. Mackay again. Gets the return ball, tries to play in Duncan, who would have been one-on-one with Izzo. Had it worked its way past Moroney. So open this game. Adelaide United preparing their first change. And it's a defender about to come on. Moroney, Galloway. Tonyek well positioned again, just to keep it away from Halloran. Early throw for Mile Josnic. Cross on the turn will stay in. Only just for Goodwin. Oh, lovely little move on Leck. And who wants it? Who wants it for Adelaide United? Mile Josnic was too slow to react. Botiak kept it away from him.
Well, it's brilliant play from Craig Goodwin, isn't it? That is just so good to watch. He made that space for the cross, and I subscribe to your view. Mile Josnic was so close to causing Brisbane some real trouble.
So Michael Jakobsen taken off, doesn't appear to have an injury.
This is beautiful, really beautiful. Now, that's delightful. And then the cross was dangerous enough.
What do you make of that change? Jordan Elsey on, Michael Jakobsen off, uninjured.
Yeah, you know, it's a couple of things. It's Jakobsen on a yellow card. It's Jordan Elsey needing game time. We heard Marco Kurtz pre-game last week talking about needing Mile Josnic to get some game time in the lead up to the finals. That's the way I assume.
Do you think it'll be Elsey Jakobsen week 1 of the finals, or does Moroney keep his spot? in central defence.
Oh, the way Moroney's going, he stays.
Yeah, right. Duncan again. Reverse ball. Didn't quite come off, but he was upended. And the set piece could be in Botiak's wheelhouse again. He won't be going with the slower ball this time.
Well, I think Alex Lopez has assumed this one is put his hand up. The great job that Michael Moroney, seriously great job that Michael Moroney has done as a centre-half late stage of the season, has now put his team in the crosshairs here. Duncan again. It's beautiful work and attracting the unwanted and apparently illegal attention of very experienced Michael Moroney.
Well, it is the side that favours a right footer. Botiak just replaced the ball. Lopez comes over, and I thought he was going to replace it his way, but he left it where the Frenchman put it. So make of that what you will. Bit more room to get it up and over the wall. And it is Lopez. Oh, just wide of that upright. Izzo was taking no chances, flying across in front of the den.
Well, he hit it so beautifully. Just look at the spin on the ball. It does never cease to amaze just how good these guys are at the amount of spin they get on. Izzo right to watch it. Watch it like a hawk. Great athleticism from him too.
Yeah, withdrew the hand at the end of it all, aware of his angle.
Outstanding athleticism and awareness from Paul Izzo.
Only Liam Reddy has kept more clean sheets than Paul Izzo this season. Not going to add to his 8 today, though. Boland opening up here. Miliuznic with pace. Isaac Powell trying to go with him. Stand up is the cry. Don't be diving in. Miliuznic first time into the arms of Mackay that were tucked into his body. Quarter of the game to go, and the live ladder makes for intriguing viewing. Here's how it stands now. That 1-point gap maintained between 4th and 5th. Melbourne City can't get to 4th, of course, but they could get to 5th with a dramatic turnaround involving Wellington. But right now, the Knicks will be thinking, we get the 3 points against Perth on Sunday, we're going to host the final. Wenzel Halls didn't get hold of it, and D'Agostino gave him a little spray for not playing him in. Oh, Pepper is going to go into the book here for sure after wiping out Halloran. So it's Duncan, Botiak and Pepper in the book for the hosts, Boland and Jakobsen for the visitors.
He was on the fly then, Ben Halloran. That was some real trouble brewing for Brisbane. Nice ball from Boland, very, very clever player. But that's a yellow card and a half, isn't it? If there was such a category.
Well, for the first time since round 2, his only other appearance this season, Baba Diawara is back. And Miliuznic gets an early mark. So can he make an instant impression here? The Senegalese striker. Actually scored his first goal against Brisbane way back in March of 2017, so over 2 years ago now. It's only his 21st A-League appearance now, so he spent a lot of time on the sidelines. Adelaide United have had to be patient with him. Isaias. They're leaving Halloran alone at the back post. Does Isaias go for goal, or does he look for teammates? He's going for goal, and he drove it straight into the wall. Big men staying forward here. Oh, Amazing touch from Goodwin. Craig Goodwin, spectacular. He's finally into double figures this season after the 8-game goal-scoring droughts. And it's a special goal to level things up at 3 apiece here in Brisbane. The first touch sublime, the finish outstanding.
Well, ball slung. Oh, it's just magnificent, really, throwing his leg out, controlling then beautifully, setting up the right foot, an improbable line towards goal if you're Craig Goodwin, but confident enough was he to cut the ball back onto that right foot and fire it home. It's a superb goal. Goal number 13, if you don't mind, between these two teams in their last matches, and still more time to come.
And it's 20 goals for Adelaide United. He's equal 5th now with Thirio, his fellow Mark Viduka medalist. Of course, no one said it better than Mark Viduka when he handed over the medal to the Spaniard on that day in Adelaide in the inaugural FFA Cup final. And here he is again, giving Leck the run around. Craig Goodwin across the face. Halloran was a little late stretching for it. It was a delightful ball in by Goodwin, who's finally getting the better of Leck in what loomed as a key matchup here. And that's an important goal, because if it is a draw here, of course, Wellington would need to win their final game, whereas if Brisbane win the game, a draw would be enough for the Knicks to leapfrog the Reds.
He's come alive in the second half, Craig Goodwin, hasn't he? He's set one up, scored one, and now another. And interesting on that run-up, Ben Halloran, for some reason, just checked his run slightly, which was enough to concede the distance that would have got him to that ball. We've seen some fantastic attacking play here today at Suncorp Stadium, Anzac Day 2019.
Goodwin now whipping this one in. Good rise by D'Agostino. Timed that one nicely. Scored at that same end, right at the end of the first half. Isaias fires one out to Goodwin, playing on the right side for now. And he'll get another corner to whip in.
That's a good cutout from Ruan Tongik, whose positioning has come under serious question today. But on that occasion, he was exactly in the right spot, because behind him was Diawara, which would have been a good chance on goal. Adelaide have really come into the reckoning here, putting a lot of pressure on Brisbane.
Jamie Young keeping his defenders honest as Goodwin whips it in. Isaias away by D'Agostino. Maroney. Elsie trying to tee up a teammate. They think that's friendly fire, leading to a handball from Ruan Tongik, and the referee wants to pause for the substitution, not a VAR check. That's the end of D'Agostino's showing. Fresh legs in the attacking third for Brisbane here as Toby Mickelson prepares to come on. VAR had a look at this after the clearance from D'Agostino was rapid fire into Ruan Tongik. Of course, you can't tell whether that definitely touched his hand. Looks like it might have.
I think it did touch his hand, but no one's going to get out of the way of that. He's got 0 reaction time.
And if it didn't touch his hand, it would have gone up towards halfway anyway. Good movement by Diawara. Back across the face. It's all hands on deck for Brisbane at the moment. They are under the pump. Galloway finds a little angle to Halloran. Otiak slid in. Adelaide United need to win the game to guarantee that home final. Otherwise, they'll be watching on anxiously until the culmination of this round. And Perth play Wellington on Sunday. Melbourne City against the Mariners tomorrow. Galloway and Baba Diawara makes it 4-3 Adelaide United over Brisbane for the second straight matchup. And he has his first goal in a long, long time. Injury frustration behind him. And all that frustration for Marco Kurtz may be over as well. They're 4 points clear in fourth on the live ladder again.
Well, the 7th goal in Adelaide came in the 95th minute. The 7th goal comes here with 15 to go. If it's allowed to stand, there's a toenail in this for onside, offside. I would like to think that common sense prevails. Advantage goes to the attacking team, and it's 4-3 for Adelaide. It was that tight a call. And in all probability, level, which is onside. There's maybe a toenail in it.
We just heard the optimistic offside shout from a young Brisbane Roar fan.
But, you know, it mightn't be optimistic. It might be one of these ones, well, you know what, a millimetre or a yard, it's still offside.
Nah, he's on. That's his first goal in over a calendar year now. 15th of April, 2018, and a 3-2 win over the Wanderers in the final round last year. The last time Baba Diawara scored. And this one will stand.
And this one won't stop at 4-3. 15 to go.
Mirko Boland off, Vinny Lear on to shore up midfield in game number 251. Well, they're putting their own fans and the fans of Wellington Phoenix through the ringer, aren't they? Adelaide United back in front again. They had the lead just 4 minutes in today. Then they fell behind at half-time. Worked their way back in front once more. Craig Goodwin has been instrumental. Mickelson. Botiak wants it deep. He tried to roll it to Wenzel Halls, who was trying to roll his man. Baba Diawara. A little bit of X factor heading into the finals for Adelaide United. If he can stay sound, he came with real potential. Now he has his 6 A-League goals. Powell firing up towards Wenzel Halls, who tried to improvise. Goodwin around the corner. Diawara upended by Pepper, who accepts the foul.
32's coming in. Is it 32?
A 2-1 win in round 6, a 4-3 victory in round 17, and poised for another 4-3 success in round 27. But Charles Lokalingoi might be able to choose a very good time to open his A-League account. He's not too far away. Halloran. Powell sticking to the task. Yes, knows he has Galloway in a bit of space. Whipping one. And Young just for a moment had a look and hoped it wasn't looping in that top corner. Time for that change. Well, Zach Duncan deserves an ovation here, the 18-year-old. Well played, young man. It's an attacking midfielder off and a striker on. Lokalingoi to lead the line, and he's been getting opportunities of late, hasn't he, in little cameos off the bench halves.
Yeah, he's got to start threatening the goal. Going to get many more opportunities without breaking that duck.
Here he is, right on cue. Charles Lokalingoi! Well, he won it back. Showed great work rate to get into a goal-scoring area, but he can't find the back of the net. 10 to go.
Well, converting the chances, it's about converting the talent from youth football, where he was reasonably prolific, to senior football. Didn't have the composure, had the opportunity, sized up the goal, and looked with a little outside of his right boot around Paul Izzo. Not a bad option, but substandard execution.
Blackwood on the outside of the boot to Goodwin. Adelaide United might feel like they need a fifth here just to make sure of it. Just watching those replays, I thought Paul Izzo might have denied Lockalingo.
Yeah.
Should have been a Brisbane call.
I think you're probably right, Brenton. I think you're probably right.
Just wonder whether it was goal bound or not with the initial strike. Offside flag up against Diawara here. Here's another look at it. Outside of the boot, and takes the deflection.
I think it does.
Yeah.
You look at the way the ball spins before it gets to Izzo and then after. Faintest of touches. Good save. Register that as a good save from Paul Izzo.
There he is. Lockalingo hooked around him by Moroney. Look how eager Darren Davies is to play ball boy. Looking to go out with some kind of result in his final game as the caretaker. Mackay. Lockalingo. Well read by Leah. Blackwood. Saw Botiak committed. Oh, Jacob Pepper. He's going to get away with that one. SIS and Leah both run to Sean Evans and say, surely that's a second yellow card for the defender.
That's the only thing we're missing in this reprise of the last match day between these two is some send-offs, and Jacob Pepper might be lucky to avoid it here. I don't know if Sean Evans is going to make something of it. No.
Would have been a fair reaction on the Adelaide United bench, I'd imagine. Nick Meredith.
Yeah, they certainly thought there was going to be a second yellow card. They're just on Brisbane here, Speedy. They're defending deeper and deeper, and they've done this all season as they get longer into games and fatigue. I just don't think they're fit enough. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 guys on the Brisbane team that have a high level of fitness, and the rest just don't seem to be able to cope with 90 minutes of football at this level.
Used to be one of their big strengths, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. They used to really run out games and dominate teams, but I don't know. To me, they look very susceptible once you get beyond the 70-minute mark.
And they've got that wonderful training base now where they can work on all of that. Maybe they haven't found the necessary ingredient this time around. Robbie Fowler might need a little tip sheet from Nick Meredith just to make sure they've got the right strength and conditioning going into the next campaign.
Oh, he's an expert on strength and conditioning, is Nuno. Don't worry about that. He's across every aspect of the business.
I don't think it was high on Robbie Fowler's priority list in his playing days. He was just that good of a striker. So another set piece, and Adelaide United can take their time with these, of course. There is Robbie Fowler watching on. Zach Duncan has been surely had a few asterisks put next to his name after the 18-year-old showing today. 13 players off contract with Brisbane, of course. So there will be mass change, a mass clean-out from Robbie Fowler. That press release would normally come out maybe on the Tuesday or Wednesday of next week once the season is over for Brisbane, on who's been released, and then they can start building the squad for next year. SIS to tail one in again, away by Leck. Oh, good one. Is he back onside? He is. SIS into the area, across the face and in. It is 5 for the Reds. And Isaias is just working on his celebration. Blows a kiss to the camera and says, thanks very much. Let's line up for that home final on Sunday week at Coopers.
Well, it's a dangerous corner, as all the Adelaide corners have been. They just don't deal with it. Again, remarkable work from Craig Goodwin. This is just hapless defending. Just hapless. And brilliant on the positive side from Isaias to curl it in from there. Needed a set of legs to go through on the way. But it's meagre resistance from Brisbane, meagre. And it's brilliant for Adelaide, who've now got 5. And the ball squarely back in Wellington's court.
And he is into double figures in his A-League career. 10 goals now in his 156th game. And he's cleaned up goal count. Brisbane have got to find a couple of goals to take a point in Matt Mackay's farewell game. Normally in that kind of situation as well, you would catch the corner taker offside once that pass goes back out to him, but Brisbane was sluggish pushing out. SIS kept onside and he scores the goal.
But one-on-one in the box when Isaias has got the ball, that's a guy in that circumstance at that point in time just bereft of any idea.
Lopez, Mickelson tried to poke it through towards Lockerlingoi. It might get that way now as Lopez is past a couple. Chopped down by Vinny Leah. Botiak eventually presented. Lopez. Mackay. There's an angle to Wenzel Halls. Botiak well found. Turned into trouble though. SIS expertly positioned. Botiak never saw him. Case in point here as Halloran goes around a couple and Isaac Powell can take a ticket.
Well, if we get a replay of this, Speed, I'm not quite sure if we will, but with the athletic requirements of the A-League, Alex Lopez has just been completely put in his box. Ben Halloran, who we know is extremely fast anyway, but poor Alex Lopez just made no impression whatsoever. This is one of the reasons for Brisbane's struggle this year. And then the isolated Powell at left fullback, stranded again, picks up the yellow card.
Well, now Wenzel Halls wants one. He's clearly dragged back Ben Halloran there, who wasn't going to get the ball, but Wenzel Halls still grabbed a hold of Halloran's shirt, former Brisbane player, of course. 28 games for them in the 2012-13 season before heading overseas. Botiak down the line. It all looked so good for Brisbane when Botiak scored that cheeky penalty. Maybe that just fired Adelaide United up that little bit more. Little skim off the top. Mickelson. Oh, he could have gone down there, but he tried to score and it's side netting as a few Brisbane fans get excited.
Well, don't you like the automatic reaction of Mickelson, which is to avoid the challenge? But the crafty streetwise players get the contact and win the penalty. This is a penalty waiting to happen there. But to his eternal credit, in my opinion, he said, no, I'll go for my own glory after controlling nicely and see if I can score. But you don't reckon the streetwise players around the globe are being brought down there, Speedy?
Yes.
My word, they
go straight through the legs of the defender and say to the referee, I'll have a spot kick, thanks. And then Matt Mackay may have been stepping up. How much stoppage time? 5 minutes.
Could of course mean there's going to be 8. And the way this one's going, let's hope so.
Back in the Postecoglou era, this was enough for a turnaround. Famously against Sydney FC at this venue. Mackay, Wenzel Halls, Lockerlingoi, Mickelson just had to wait a little more than he wanted to, and he'll settle for a corner.
Good lead up though, nice interchange, clever outside of the football initially. A little touch by Wenzel Halls, and Lockerlingoi returned serve nicely with an immediate response. Adelaide got numbers back as they needed, forced the corner.
Toniak and Lockerlingoi look like the biggest handfuls here for Adelaide United's defence. They tower over their respective opponents. Mickelson's delivery, away by Moroney. And that's a foul.
There's a foul. I think Moroney was tripped after he'd headed the ball. Put it in the accidental character. It was a good defensive header from Michael Moroney. Lockerlingoi was there, making some sort of effort. Accidentally tripped Moroney.
Well, it is time to say farewell for a club legend. Calls for a statue to be outside Suncorp Stadium for this bloke. Matt Mackay, after 444 games for clubs and country, says goodbye.
Walk slower, Matt. Walk slower.
What a winner as well. Those trophy lifts. That cheeky smile on his face as he did it with his hometown club. Went overseas a couple of times. South Korea, a brief spell at Rangers in Scotland. But Brisbane was his home. First with the Strikers and then with the Raw. And the career is over. '59 caps for the Socceroos, and some superb performances as well at international level. SIS suggested to Wenzel Halls and Lockerlingoi that he was going backwards. Sold them down the river. Baba Diawara's offside here.
Well, you look at a couple of games at Brisbane just to total off this forgettable season for them. Conceded 11 goals in their last 2 home games. Playing at home, conceding 11 goals. Play against Adelaide, their last 2 games, this and the previous, has now been 9 concessions. Where does Robbie Fowler's work start?
A yellow card here for Baba Diawara, tipped up by the VAR. Sean Evans says for the use of that swinging arm, you're going into the book. Yeah, it's an A-League record. They've conceded 71 goals, so they knocked the Mariners of 15-16 out of the record books by conceding 71 in an A-League season in 27 games.
And that record was safe and locked away with 2 rounds to go, both at home. It's been a collapse in these last 2 matches, befitting the general fall of Brisbane Roar. A lot of work to do. I don't think I speak alone in looking forward to much better days. This club has ignited the competition and set benchmarks, positive benchmarks in the competition, and it's about time it got back, and Robbie Fowler's the man. Marco Kurtz, for his part, what a job he's done at Adelaide. Just a couple of games to go now for him in his relationship with the Reds. Or a few, a couple or a few. Don't jump down my throat.
I wasn't sweating on it, Harps, don't worry. But take a little sweepstake in the stoppage time stakes here, Huffs. How long are we going?
I reckon he'll get us out of here pretty quick now.
Well, there we go. Sean Evans blows full time. Adelaide United book that home final on Sunday week, most likely against the Wellington Phoenix. They can start preparing for that, and Brisbane's dismal campaign comes to an end. Just 4 wins, their fewest ever, and they set an unwanted A-League record by conceding 71 goals in a campaign.